And I remember watching the first season and thinking, there's no way this isn't a Stephen King book.
I
wasn't expecting it at all.
I wasn't expecting it, but at the same time, it's one of those things like, we should have expected it. I mean,
I have to say that Will, the bowl cut, 5 seasons, 9 years. I'm sorry.
He has his style, I guess.
It's a rough haircut to have.
What's up, guys? This is James from the Toy Fort, joined by my friend Tristan. And today we are here to talk about Season 5 of Stranger Things.
What a whirlwind. It's a whirlwind.
3.5 years we waited for this.
It's a long time for filming, and with the actor strike, SAG actor strike.
I actually didn't think about that. So I guess that makes sense.
At the end of season 4, so we had a little bit of a break there.
Okay.
With what was going on with that, but it's been an experience. I mean, 9 years total.
Yes, I mean, we're talking about kids to adults, which there's a lot of memes about that.
Yeah.
Grown adults don't say friends don't lie. Right. I saw that meme a bunch of times. Definitely. But
I look at it as so interesting because it's such a rare thing to actually have these child actors, and see them over that course grow and
stay in that.
Stay in that role really well too. Mm-hmm. Some interesting stuff that happened with some of the actors themselves. Millie Bobby Brown, married, new baby, still managing to film, this final season. I think it's incredible.
Yeah. No, it's and just the story, the development we've seen of the characters, starting from a kid to a full-grown adult, and how the character changed along the way, the different traumas and tragedies, the losses we all experience.
I mean, you think about Eleven as a character when she's first found by Mike and his gang. She doesn't really speak,
Right.
She's a little kid with a shaved head and, can't say much more than she likes Eggo waffles.
That's true.
It's definitely... Now, we've seen that fall off, obviously.
Not the Eggos.
You don't think so?
No.
There wasn't one mention in Season 5 of Eggos.
Shoot, I think you're right. But I mean, before that though, Eggos was a staple.
Eggos, yeah, but I mean, what a crazy idea, to bring us back to Americana, the 80s, Indiana,
D&D, Dungeon and Dragons,
a classic, Wizards of the Coast, and really kind of just getting started as a powerhouse in that industry, but. Just a crazy time to I think the perfect time
to explore and tell this story.
Exactly.
Perfect decade.
I mean, and you look at it from a worldview of the Cold War's going on. Mm-hmm. Everyone's scared. Everyone's worried that there are scientists in your backyard,
right?
Doing experiments, and well, it just so happened to be true for these guys.
Only it's Americans, not the Russians.
Well.
Wow.
Not till season 4. But I think it's amazing. It's such a unique idea, and I remember watching the first season and thinking, there's no way this isn't a Stephen King book.
Oh, okay.
And then actually looking and going, well, inspirational, but nothing he wrote.
So something kind of odd. The first time I watched this, I actually thought it was going to be a little bit more horror-esque. And so I'll be honest, that beginning episode with everyone getting killed and, the lights flickering and everything, I turned it off. I don't think I'm ready for this level of, scariness.
Right, yeah.
But then thankfully, I came back to it and I was like, okay, let's see where it goes past that point. And I'm grateful to have stuck around and go through, the whole story.
It's an emotional roller coaster. We have the horror aspect that transitions into, the teenage angsty, keep your door open 3 inches, like Hop says, and then into a, really coming of age for all of these kids involved. Dustin specifically finally gets his teeth.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. but there is still that underlying uneasiness. I mean, I couldn't imagine being a kid and knowing this is going on.
Right.
And, living.
Well, I mean, just every night that they went to bed, knowing that this kind of universe, these monsters were real.
Exactly.
There's not the monster under the bed that they're afraid of. It's literally a friggin' Demogorgon tearing through the wall yeah. and attacking you in your bed.
I gotta say, poor Will.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole show, he feels like a whipping dog. Just going to the Upside Down, being the spy, digging the tunnels, just, oh man, poor kid.
He definitely had it rough.
He really did.
And he wasn't really the only one. I mean, everyone really in this show had it rough. So speaking of Will in the tunnels, yeah. that was kind of a surprise because I mean, they hinted at it. We obviously knew he had a connection to the tunnels, but we didn't for sure know that.
Well, I think we knew that he had a connection to the dark thing, the mind flayer, as they call it. It's goosebumps, right? Mm-hmm. Something's going to happen. But that exploration of the hive mind, and not only are these creatures connected,
right?
Vecna, Henry, he's connected, but so is Will.
Yeah.
And so are anyone else who has been infected with the mind flayer's particulate.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting kind of way to go.
No, that's it's cool to see, finally an answer to that. Or why was he keep having these dreams? And then, it's because he was the one actually guiding them to making those tunnels.
Right.
And then we see Will come to terms with that. We see Will come to terms with some other stuff as well. And then he gets superpowers. When I saw that, I was like, wow. Yep. What great writing. I mean, for him to be able to do that it's amazing. I wasn't expecting it at all. I wasn't expecting it, but at the same time, it's one of those things like we should have expected it. I mean, I think we didn't really know for sure like how exactly Elle got her powers, but connecting that with connecting to Will and Vecna, now it makes sense. The power is passed down
like an infection almost.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say that would be the best way to describe it, which it's crazy. But here's another question though, is if it is passed down through that, kind of through the particulate, okay? In season 5, we see them in the Upside Down. They spend a lot of time there.
Yes, I think this is the most we've spent in the Upside Down this season.
You notice though that they're not wearing respirators. They're not wearing any kind of
mask.
So you have to wonder,
are these still kind of inside of them?
Yeah, or is it just a branch from the mind flayer?
That's interesting.
But it's, we see some definite glow ups this season. I have to say that Will, the bowl cut, 5 seasons, 9 years. I'm sorry.
He has his style, I guess.
It's a rough haircut to have.
We got Nancy. Is that a perm? Well, is that what that would be called?
Look, with the amount of running around that she did, and the fact that there was no booth in that, I'm gonna have to say it was a perm.
But I mean, I think we got our next Ellen Ripley. I thought my immediate vibe was we got a main leading actress who has the perfect hair to be our next Ellen Ripley in an Alien.
I think so too. They do have very similar facial features too. I mean, it's so rare that you come across a character that you can kind of mold into a tough, awesome, pumping a shotgun with one hand.
She was the girl next door turned into Rambo.
Exactly. And speaking of Rambo, Hopper put on some weight this season, just a little bit. But
I mean, I'm
really cool, cool.
But I'm sure he's struggling. I mean, he just got out of the gulag. He makes it back home. And rather than being able to go to Enzo's and get something to eat, the entire town blows up.
Yeah.
So I mean, that first episode, we come back to it. We saw that the town blew up, and they explain, what's happened in that time.
Yeah.
And, we see 18 months have gone by. They built their own tunnels all throughout the town.
Right.
Getting so that they can get into the Upside Down.
Shout out to Radio Shack back in the day.
We still have Radio Shack mentioned.
Yep.
And then we see the changes in the characters, like Dustin. Like, he's still struggling with the loss of his best friend, kind of. I mean,
it's so heartbreaking for him to know that truth about
Eddie wasn't a monster. He was, and he saved.
Yeah, he saved that. I think for me, probably the most heartbreaking scene this season was when him and Steve actually fight, physically get in a fight, and then Dustin tells Steve, he goes, "Don't be a hero.
He doesn't lose.
He can't die too. I can't live with that." And I think that they've had such a beautiful relationship.
Great.
Really good.
We saw some fractures, obviously, in this season. That
Nancy and
he gravitated more towards Eddie, but at the end of the day, Steve's been there from the friggin' beginning.
the hair.
Yep, Steve the Hair Harrington.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of relate to that in your life of, you're part of this group that doesn't fit in. I know me, I really relate to it as you don't really fit in, and then
Someone takes you under their wings.
Takes you under their wing. It gives me very, very strong memories of season 1, the Aquanet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, something simple like that. It's great.
All right, so let's get into this. 3.5 years. Was this worth it?
Well, that's a hard one for me because there was a lot of potential, and I do think they fulfilled a lot of it, but there were some sloppy moments this season.
Editing the video.
Yeah, you can see. The biggest one being the Under Armour.
Under Armour, yeah.
That's Game of Thrones with the Starbucks cup.
Yeah.
Credit where it's due. Though they went back in, they changed it, but 3.5 years.
That's the kind of thing that should have been done.
Yeah.
And then not just 3.5 years, but then a little bit longer too, because we had our first group of episodes, then the next group of episodes, and then now the finale. And, a part of me wishes they kind of would have just went, with like a weekly episode by episode, or just a classic Netflix and all of it at once.
That's the way I like it. It drives me crazy when it's like, let's end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Now I got to go to work and wait a week to find out what happens. But I think Netflix as a marketing strategy, I think that was super smart.
Yeah.
They definitely built that hype up.
I'm sure they broke all kinds of records each time.
Yeah.
I know each time they did it, it seems like Netflix crashed because everybody logging in that wants to watch it. So, I get it. It is what it is, but...
we're talking about, was it worth it? I will say, we have a lot of plot holes this season.
Yeah.
Those that don't get figured out. Where's Susie? We haven't heard from her in a while.
Well, yeah. No Susie. We haven't seen her yet. The dad, I always blank on his name, but Mr. Byers.
Mr. Wheeler.
Mr. Wheeler. See? He's so forgettable.
He's, I think he's had a total of maybe 2 minutes of screen time. So kind of feels like an unnecessary character.
But, we saw Mom in the hospital.
Mom, a badass.
Yeah, she came back. She's okay. But, Dad, we didn't see anything with him.
Hope he's all right.
Yeah. But, we saw, Holly was a character we didn't really care about.
She was a baby sister.
Yeah. Mom was a character that, she had a little bit of time with Billy. But other than that, she was just kind of a character that continued on.
Almost made her unlikable.
Yeah, somewhat. That's fair.
Just.
But
it's a different.
This season, though, Mom and Holly all of a sudden become kind of more main characters.
Really great. Really. I'm unsure of her name, but the actress that played Holly, phenomenal.
Yes,
really, really good at not just portraying that innocence of youth, but also overcoming that and becoming a hero in her own right.
Well, in a way, kind of making us like, well, crap, now we kind of wish we had a little bit more Holly in the past.
Right. Maybe a spin-off.
So,
Sean, they're the
D&D group.
But, I think altogether, I would say, if I had to give it a score, 8.8.
Okay.
For this season. show as a whole, 9.6.
Yeah.
I do think,
The overall story, everything that we've gone through all these years, definitely one of the greatest series, one of the greatest standalone, streaming service series.
yeah. And that's,
I would think the only one that maybe comes close would be Mandalorian, as a standalone.
yeah,
streaming.
as a standalone, that's a good
And
one.
its impact on pop culture. Just today, I had multiple people stop me and start trying to ask me about, Stranger Things. So this is a pop culture icon. This is going to go down in history.
Kate Bush made it back into the
Yeah.
top charts. that's kind of a crazy situation there.
That's fair.
But and there's so much iconography in the show. I mean, season 5, she's wearing Nikes that were never actually invented.
Oh,
And then they did invent those. They sold out almost immediately.
dang.
You have the classic styles of the 80s.
You have the 80s arcade.
Yes.
You got the music, you got the arcade, I believe subtle references to movies.
Definitely. They go to see Indiana Jones, they're sneaking into the movie theaters through the ice cream place. One thing I do have to say though, flat top.
Oh,
Yeah, it got very big, and it was not the best hair choice. I can't say I'm a hairstylist, but I know Lucas's flat top was very distracting for me. But I feel like that's one thing we should touch on too. Is yes, it's horror, it's suspense, it's all this stuff. But I think it does have a really strong message of love, and not just love, romantic, but the love of parents and siblings and friends.
yes, definitely.
When we're kids, we think our friendships will last forever, and we find out that that's not always true. But this kind of gives us something to hold on to with, wow, these people are,
Well, they stuck together the core group all the way from season 1 to season 5.
yes,
Every heartbreak, every loss,
every speed bump.
they still brought them all back together for us.
I think that's something special. I think Lucas and Max, I think that's beautiful. I think it's all beautiful, and I'm really happy to have seen that. I feel like we don't really get a lot of that.
No.
It's a change. It's a positive.
So, speaking of that, Max, 18 months she'd been trapped in that place, in Henry's mind, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it was at the end of season 4, I was wondering how they were going to play it. Is she in a coma? Is she
going to come back, or is she going to be gone?
Now, I'll say this, 18 months, it's someone else's mind. That's very hard. I can only imagine how hard that would be.
Well, and I mean, so, speaking of plot holes, we really don't see, does she eat? Does she not have to eat? Because she's in mind, Obviously, that's one question I had. Another thing is the fact that it took 18 months for her to escape, and Holly's there for a week or less, and she's like, okay, we're out.
Yeah, a little bit of a plot hole. I think maybe we can get into the meta. She's actually alive, but this is just her psyche,
Right.
That's trapped, or if you want to go deeper, you could say soul,
Right.
That's trapped in Henry's mind. But it definitely gives us a good foreshadowing for how the season will turn out, and especially kidnapping the kids, because we don't understand we don't really have a good picture of why that's happening. What happened to Will? Why is it happening now?
Why does he need all these kids? What's the point? What's the point behind these actions he's making? And to finally see, and we see all the way up until the end, this grand plan. And one of the best parts is finally understanding why Henry is the way he is, what happened to make him the way he is, and thus put this plan, everything from the very beginning, where
Into motion, yeah.
Will gets taken and the whole thing just kind of spirals.
Yeah, I mean, it's, speaking of just plans in motion, Collie, L's sister number 8, coming back. I did not have that on my Stranger Things bingo card.
I definitely thought she was maybe a one-time appearance and done kind of thing. I heard very many people say they kind of complained that, what was the point of that? At least now we have a reason. It definitely made that episode, that time she spent. Now it's all worth it. Now it all makes sense.
Absolutely. And, we go, there's there's so much to just
to unpack and dive into.
But I think, you know,
they did a good job though of putting this whole world, the 10 years almost,
building
and making everything make sense.
Yeah,
we finally see the true picture of the Upside Down and how Vecna and this whole world connects.
Yeah.
We basically, like I said, we get Henry's plan from the beginning to now. We see the whole thing come to fruition. We get the explanation for Will, why he took Will in the first place. All the questions I think that we pretty much had, I will say they did a good job of answering, and at least for the most part giving us answers.
Yeah.
Except for another plot hole, what happened to Argyle? He was there. He should be trapped in that city, unless they were like, hey, you're from California, you can just go back home. The vibe I got was whoever was in that city was trapped.
Yeah.
So I definitely think the loss of Argyle was kind of a big plot hole, along with Susie.
And Susie,
big characters that just didn't make it back into this.
You know, and you know what? I think it could have very easily been they're a minor arc character.
I mean, that's fair.
Argyle only exists to get them back.
To get them back home.
You know, I think that would probably be my guess on maybe why we're not seeing these people anymore.
Yeah.
Also, could be poor writing. I don't know. I'm not a TV show editor.
Well, I think we can agree. You know, they probably. You know, it's hard. You know, they have this awesome story that they didn't know how it was going to go when they put out that first season.
Yeah.
And it was so beloved, so cherished that it got all the way up to season 5. And I mean...
Yeah, a true cult following.
Exactly.
Very rare.
And I'm sure that's got to be hard for writers, for directors, for the actors themselves even, you know.
Yeah,
You know, they're the people that they are, but I'm sure, you know, everyone's going to look at them and, you know, 11's going to be 11. Mike's going to be Mike. They're always going to have, people are going to look at them as those characters. So I'm sure it's got to be hard for them to, you know, to live with that and, you know, to continue to move forward and try to hash out this final season to give the fans what they want, or at least what they hope they wanted.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Like I said, I don't direct and produce, I don't edit, but I do think that the time that they had the true care for the fans, because they do. You know, it doesn't feel like they ended it as now we're done.
Right.
They, you know, I do think they gave it the best send off that they could.
They gave us what I don't want to call it fan service, but they gave us kind of, you know, an end to the story of each of the characters
that we can actually
and be happy with. You know, there's always going to be some debate about some stuff, but I mean, really, I think they ended it really in the best way possible of, you know, maybe they could have done it faster. We definitely could have had the story drawn out a little bit more, seeing some more execution, some more planning, you know, see, like, you know, how Nancy turned into Rambo. We didn't really see her, like, training into this kind of, like, we see training.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's definitely plot points, stuff we missed, stuff we could have seen. But I do think at the end of the day, you know, they showed us what happened to our friends. Right. Because in a way, they really, you know, these characters became like friends. Household. They became like family.
Yeah.
And so they gave us an ending that we could take home at the end of the day and be like, we know what happened to so-and-so. And, you know, go to bed the next night and not have to wonder and worry for the most part.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
They wrapped it up in a positive way.
They say, yeah, I mean, I'm a classic 80s movie guy. I want to see one person survive and everyone else bite the dust. But, I mean, that can't always be the case. And I think they did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we can actually feel secure knowing that
it ended the way it ended. The story ended the way it ended. Well, so I mean, we know that there's going to be an animated series coming.
Set between season 2 and 3.
Right. So, I mean, we still have these characters with us, regardless of how it, you know, the end ended. We still have these characters. We still have stories to be told. And we still have the potential of spin-offs.
Yeah.
You know, they left it in a way where, you know, not just the animated, but we could get more live action stories within this universe. Yeah. Maybe not with all the characters, but still within the universe that they created and continue the story of the Upside Down and
I'd be interested
whatever else that there could be to kind of go along with it.
Yeah. I'd be super interested in a prequel, I think.
Well,
I think that'd be really
That would be cool. See some more Brenner.
pretty young.
Yeah, young Brenner. I mean, there's definitely still the potential for, if you want to call it the Stranger Things universe. I think there's more stories to be told. And,
Absolutely.
It's been a fun ride. If it ended right now, it was a fun ride. But I mean, we know we still got more potentially coming.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm still excited. I'm really excited for the animated series because
Netflix animation is pretty good.
yeah. And I mean, just in general, I like the animated stories because you have more freedom. You don't have to be held by, the same actors, the same price of the actors. Age doesn't matter anymore. So it just gives you that freedom to continue the story with the characters that we love.
Absolutely. I think that's important.
But I mean, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a ride.
That is 100%.
Big roller coasters.
10 years.
Loops.
I mean, these kids, they completely grew up and know their life, their story. We got to go alongside them and see.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see what other projects they come out with.
That's definitely.
I'm very excited for that. And, wow.
Well, like we said, I think that wraps it up. So I'm James.
I'm Tristan.
We're here at the Toy Port, and this has been a review. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one.